All right, well, I think we are good to go. Heather Ann, would you do the roll call for me?
Sure. All right. Ms. Kane?
Present.
Ms. Corus? Valerie? Nope. Okay. Mr. Luttrell? Eric? Okay. Mr. Miles? Kent? Nope. Ms. Oberg? I saw Molly. Ms. Oberg? Oh, yeah, you gotta unmute yourself. There she is.
Present and accounted for.
Okay. Mr. Sam?
Here.
Okay. Mr. Shetty?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien?
Present.
Mr. Taylor?
I'm here.
And Ms. Wu.
Here.
Okay.
All right, we have quorum. Before we get started tonight, I'd like to go over a little bit on how this meeting will operate. So this is the Market Advisory Committee, and it is the first time that we've conducted this 100% virtually. This is being conducted virtually due to the Governor's Shelter-in-Place Order and Executive Order Number 5, the provisions of the Open Meetings Act, 5 ILCS 120. In addition, Section 4 of the City of Urbana Temporary Emergency Ordinance to address the COVID-19 pandemic provides for meetings to be conducted electronically. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the city's website. Please note that the chat function for this session has been disabled and all public will be muted. Public input can be provided during the public input part of the agenda. If you wish to speak during this part, please use the button at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen titled Raise Hand to be called upon. This function is located in the participant window. You will need to state your first and last name for the record. If you are on the phone and would like to speak, please use *9 to raise your hand. For each agenda item, after staff has presented or offered an update, committee members will have an opportunity to ask questions by raising the hand. Again, this function is located in the participant window in the bottom right corner of your screen. So that is how this is going to operate today. The first item on our agenda is approval of minutes of previous meetings from December 18th, 2019. Can I have a motion?
I motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right, moved by Tegan, seconded by Stan. Are there any corrections or updates? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 You'll have to unmute yourself.
Aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? All right, those meetings are approved. Do we have any additions to the agenda tonight? All right, I don't see any additions for tonight. So the first item on the agenda is public input. Brandon, would you start us off with the item that was emailed to you?
Yes, I have two. The first is from Kim Campbell of Campbell Apiaries. One moment, please. Okay. Suggestions for 2020 market. My thoughts concerning the 2020 market in the square during COVID-19 pandemic. Everyone, regardless of age, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Everyone, regardless of age, is at risk, especially people over 65 or anyone with medical conditions. 1, any vendor who may be at risk or is concerned about being exposed to COVID-19 should be allowed to lay out of some or all of the market season and be able to return to their current booth location when it is again safe to be in public gatherings. 2, the City of Urbana is waiting till April 15 to make changes in how or if the 2020 market runs. The state of Illinois ordered shelter in place until April 30th. Manage My Market guidelines for 2020 have not been updated for these changes. Vendors should not be held responsible to apply or prepay for 2020 Manage My Market without updating guidelines change to reflect the changing situation. Kim Campbell. And the other is from a group of farms. The farms are Blue Moon Farm, Prairie Fruits Farm and Creamery, Moore Family Farms, and Sola Gracia Farm. And it was originally addressed to Mayor Marlin. We are writing this letter urging the city to support the farmers and customers in the redesign of the market in the light of COVID-19. We are sure you have seen the many examples of how other cities are creating spaces that allow customers to see the display of food and pay on the spot while maintaining safe social distance. We are writing to let you know that we have been trying pre-order curbside pickup for the last month now that the indoor market has been canceled. Of course, we are glad to make the sales, but the amount of overhead needed to pull this off kills our margin. We simply cannot make the sales we need with curbside pickup. 1, as much as 60% of our sales in the summer are walk-ups and not on anyone's email list. There is no way to reach them. 2, customers tend to order less online than they will buy at a market. Again, the people who order online are a small set of our patrons. 3, pre-bagging individual orders is only profitable with high-dollar items. Blue Moon and other produce farms attract people because of our diversity of offerings, including many loss leaders like cilantro and scallions. We afford to grow such a wide diversity of crops because of the walk-up sales we make at the market. Bagging up a cilantro and a bunch of scallions is not a good financial decision. 4, we have experienced a steep drop in our profit margins when we are setting up an assembly line at the farm, which requires a full day, and then distributing the boxes at a pickup site, which also requires a full day. Our costs have just doubled. Please give us the chance to show that Urbana can host a safe place that allows the whole farmers market community to get the food they want and allows the farms to survive the season. Again, it's signed Blue Moon Farm, Prairie Fruits Farm and Creamery, Moore Family Farm, and Sola Gracia Farm. And we do not have any other comments by email at this time.
Thank you. I do not see, now's the time if the public would like to offer any input. You need to raise your hand, either doing *9 on a telephone or raising your hand on the bottom participant window. All right, I do not see any further public input right now.
There is one avid J. Cole fan.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see the actual hand. All right, so you have 5 minutes. Go for it.
Well, I'm Lorian Carsey. That's my son's. I don't know how to change it. Sorry. I'm not an avid J. Cole fan. So I farm with Blue Moon. I and other farmers wrote that letter. I just wanted to say that Diane Moore asked me to just say a few words about how very difficult it would be for their farm to survive if they did curbside pickup, and it would be very difficult to manage, and they wouldn't make the sales that they would need to make. She's too busy farming to be at this meeting, but I wanted to express that I have been in contact with her. So yes, the letter pretty much says it all. I just wanted to add that part in from Diane Moore that she's, sorry for the noise, got some kitchen stuff going on. Anyway, that's it. I think it's all self-explanatory. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. And there is a hand for Maggie Taylor.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, as a farmer, I farm with Delight Flower Farm, and as a farmer selling flowers, we are doing pretty well with delivery orders and our CSA, but our farmers market sales are impulse buys almost 100%. Even if people buy regularly from us, I think they don't come to the market like premeditating buying flowers. They see them and they want to bring them home. So for us, it would really affect our revenue if we weren't able to do spontaneous on-the-spot sales of flowers, and to be able to show what we have fresh every week, not just in a digital photo. So I just wanted to emphasize that it would be really beneficial for farmers to have an in-person market with real displays of product.
All right, thank you very much. I do not see anybody else here. Nobody's waving at me physically or electronically. All right, so the fifth item on the agenda are presentations. So we have a staff report from Brian.
Yes. How you guys doing? Okay, let me just get to my handout here. All right, so the first part of my staff report will cover the SNAP program update. We have submitted a request to extend our funding on our 2019 Link Up Illinois grant. That grant would amount to a little over $4,000. We have not heard back. Usually extension of that grant is not a problem from Experimental Station. We have submitted a second grant to Experimental Station in a request of $4,000, and that would cover a 15% increase in SNAP program over last year's levels. Now, that was sent in prior to the whole COVID-19 crisis, so I just don't know. I am still waiting on a reply for our SNAP match grant from Farm Credit Illinois. Just assuming that with everybody kind of working at home and everybody's schedule being messed up, I have not gotten back a response back from them. I do expect them to support the market at their usual level, but I cannot at this point guarantee that. We are also kind of partners on the land connection, and they are writing a proposal to the United Way in support of a universal local match program, and that would kind of simplify things for farmers and the cities across the board. Jacqueline Evers is here tonight, and she will give us a more concise update with that. So I will turn that over to her right now, I think, and then we can get information straight from her. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I am happy to tell you a little bit about this proposal. We submitted it a few months ago. I think it was due in December. And the concept is that we would be able to have universal incentives with our outdoor markets. So SNAP eligible shoppers could trigger their incentive at either of the farmers markets, and then they would be able to spend those incentives at either of the farmers markets, which would alleviate some of the confusion that they have experienced in the past with knowing which coupons should be spent at which markets. It would also help some of our farmers that accept those fresh fruit and vegetable coupons. We know it's confusing and there's lots of envelopes and different types of coupons involved. So we made it through to the second round of the Community Impact Grant for United Way, which means they accepted us for an in-person interview, which we snuck in right before all of the COVID-19 shelter-in-place order came. And they've had requests for follow-up information. I have been in communication with them now that we are experiencing an increase in unemployment across the nation. We suspect that will also mean an increase in supplemental assistance benefit recipients this year. And so I've been in contact with United Way to kind of keep them in the loop about what we're anticipating. Previously, the Land Connection had been funded through a federal grant program called the Food Insecurity Nutrition Incentive Program. It's now called GusNIP for short. And Experimental Station was also funded through GusNIP. Neither of our agencies were awarded funds through federal government, which is why we elected to kind of band together all of the markets and try to solve some of these problems with local funds versus continuing to seek federal funding. So the award notifications are supposed to go out May 29th. It seems that United Way is still on schedule, so we would hope to find out by then. And then we would roll out our system for the rest of this market season.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Brian or Jacqueline? I do not see any hands raised. All right, so the next item is to provide an update on the planning for the 2020 market in conjunction with public health guidelines. Is that Brandon or Brian? I'm assuming it's Brian since you're unmuted. And oh no,
Yeah.
maybe.
It is. I'll just say a couple things though that in response to Jacqueline's report, I want to remind the board that some of the materials that were prepared for the United Way grant were included in the agenda materials and the public. Anybody can go check it out. But there's a real need we need to respond to, if at all possible. And it's been great working with our peers, TLC and UVA. And that's really the main focus we've put on the response to the COVID situation for the market, is being in conversation with our peers, with TLC, with UVA, and then starting a conversation with the public health district as well. So special thanks again to Jacqueline and Kay at TLC for the work they've put in so far. And, we're at a point where we're just going to be putting a proposal together and learning a lot more tomorrow at a farmers market conference. So this is part of that conversation. And I'm just really proud of the collegial spirit that we've been moving forward in so far. Take it away, Brian.
Okay, so as Brandon mentioned, we were on a conference call with the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District. And at this point right now, farmers markets are covered under the governor's shelter-in-place order as essential businesses. So public health had no real reason to close this down at this point. Whether that will change as things go forward, I'm not 100% sure. They are in support of maintaining social distancing and kind of setting up with that in mind for the market. But at this point, they are unwilling to kind of say they will or they won't let us go forward. It seems like they're willing to support the market. We clearly, if we do have to enforce social distancing measures, we will have to kind of constrain the market to some vendor classes over others, just so that we have space to kind of spread everybody out and maintain that. So we, in conjunction with the Champaign Market and the Farmers Market Coalition of Illinois, they will be releasing a set of guidelines sometime this week. So we're kind of waiting to see what those guidelines look like, because they are in contact with markets across the state, so Chicago, all the way down south. And we think that they will be able to provide a really good comprehensive set of guidelines, and then we'll clearly modify them as we see fit. But for the moment, we're in a little bit of a wait and see kind of position. That's all I got.
All right, so do people have questions for Brandon or Brian at this time? Do not see anybody's hand raised or waving at me.
Oh,
is there some? There you go, Molly, go for it.
Sorry, I couldn't find the hand wave button. So do you have a date for when you'll have information from the Illinois Farmers Market Association for the guidelines?
I do not have a hard date. I talked to Janie Maxwell, and she was thinking they would be out with their guidelines sometime this week. So hopefully, that will stay true. I'll probably give her a call or send her an email tomorrow. It just seems like I spoke to her on Thursday or Friday of last week. So it's, they're pushing pretty hard to get it done.
Sure.
By today would be kind of impressive. So.
Okay. And then my other question would be, how will you contact us once you get that information? Or will you send out another email?
Yeah, I will probably contact you via Manage My Market.
Okay.
That way it just goes to people who are currently registered and plan on coming to the market, but also people who from last year are maybe on the fence. So that way it kind of covers the most people possible. And I know there's a few vendors that I'll have to call on the phone for sure, like Diane Moore and Lois Kramer from 3D Tomatoes. They'll have to be contacted on the phone. But right now that's the plan.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Brian?
I just would like to add a little more context too about what the conversation will be like moving forward. As was mentioned, we're going to work together. We have a shared Google Doc set up, thanks to Kay at Land Connection, to communicate about this proposal so that we can have uniform guidelines for all the markets, if at all possible. I guess I can talk personally. The way I'm viewing this is it's like a negotiation. We're going to try to get the best, biggest, most robust market we can, but it's also going to be a safe market. First and foremost, we will comply with the governor's executive order. The current order actually expires before the market. So we're going to be looking at what kind of executive order are we operating under. And then secondly, the Public Health Department is our partner in interpreting that executive order, whatever it is. So that's why we have them at the table now. And like I mentioned in my comments before, we're going to maintain a collaborative approach and try to have guidelines that work well for all of our markets and all of our vendors across all the markets. We want to be a part of that solution.
All right, thank you. That looks like the only staff reports that are listed in the
I got a
agenda.
question. Can I get a question in?
Stan, you want a question? Yes.
Yeah, for Brandon. Will there be will we looking at adjusting the fees and the payment dates as we go forward? Because if it's a different type of market, maybe it's not, maybe we shouldn't charge as much. Maybe you shouldn't charge as much. I mean, I know you don't know none of that, but I mean, will that be addressed or even looked at?
I mean, certainly we'll make sure that there's a fair outcome for the vendors if things change. But right now, I really want to operate under the pretense that we're going to have a good market come May. It's more likely that we will have to restrict the number of vendors, right? The kind of vendors to those who are considered essential under the order. If one gets extended, in which case. It's still a normal market, but some vendors are going to get full refunds.
But wasn't the payment date to get the discount here like in another week?
Let's let Brian address that because I know he pushed a deadline back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I ran into some problems with my email connection at home this weekend. I approved a bunch of applications on Saturday, and for those I had sent out notices specifically to them updating the payment due date, and I just didn't get a chance before I got locked out of my email to send it out to people who had already applied. So I'm going to take care of that later on today. So I plan on pushing it back. Everything's been pushed back to May 1st, I believe. So that way we'll all know what we're getting into right before the market starts. And clearly, there's some flexibility there. If you've got a problem, just contact me, and I'm more than happy to work with vendors. I've already talked to a few of them and set up plans, and they've been, adhering to those schedules that they told me would work for them. So I'm more than willing to be flexible on those terms.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the 2020 market promotions and advertising. Is that you, Brian? Or is that somebody else who's going to be presenting on that?
No, I'll be presenting on that. I will need to share my screen, I believe. Let me just get everything up and running first. So I think everybody received a copy of this in their, all right, this might take me a second and a half to figure out. Should have received a copy in this in an email sent when we canceled the last meeting. All right, I don't know. I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. Sure, that looks good. Let's see how that works. I have no idea what you guys are actually seeing, so I apologize.
We can see it fine.
Okay, thanks. So this is the advertising and promotional plan. Honestly, I think there's going to be more than a few amendments to this over the next couple of weeks. But basically, we are looking to target audiences, families with children, individuals concerned about the environmental impact, culturally diverse audiences, and individuals concerned with healthy eating and lifestyle, as well as target some advertising and promotions towards SNAP recipients. So our advertising platforms are going to be, we're going to have a number of digital platforms, Smile Politely, YouTube ads, Shambana Moms, and Crescent Media, and they do WeChat, and they're going to put together a whole big, nice package for us. So social media will have Facebook promotions, and then again, the WeChat version of that, I'll explain that once we get to it. For print ads, we want to do MTD bus ads and print advertisements with the News Gazette. The first platform would be Smile Politely, and this is kind of aimed at younger urban professionals, and we kind of cut a little bit of a deal with them and the city of Urbana, so we have pretty good access to their site from now until November, and we'll be able to run banner ads as well as sidebar ads, and then they'll come out and do features on the market, so stories, so they'll talk about specific product categories as we go forward. And I'm going to, once we get our plans in place, if the market is modified, I will share that with them so that we have another way to get that information out. Our next platform would be YouTube ads. And right now I'm looking at skippable ads, where they play at the beginning of a user's chosen content, but usually you have to watch the first 5 seconds and then you can choose to skip it. It's kind of a nice, affordable way to do things. And we can load, just the time and date information about the market at the front end of those. And we'll probably do those in a limited array. It's a little bit on the expensive side, but we'll probably time it so that we hit like the peak of the market season. So really start those in June and then probably keep them ramped up until September, and just kind of track those out. And that will also give us a chance to shoot new video at the market while it's running, as well as use stuff that we have in our archives. Our Facebook, we will be streaming images from the market, and we will boost a number of our Facebook posts, maybe 1 or 2 times a week. So far, it seems like we can get a pretty good response for a fairly affordable boost, so we'll go with that. And that's going to run the whole length of the market. We'll use that in conjunction with our market mail to kind of just keep people who are already interested in the market informed and up to date as different crops come in season or new vendors join the market, that type of thing. And then we're also going to buy some ad space with Chambana Moms. And in the past, they have done things where they will have like a Mom's Day at the market, where they will kind of come out and host a table and greet their subscribers and people who go to their website. And that seems to have a pretty good return. But given the way that the market is going, we might wait till June to really ramp that up, give people a little bit of breathing space at the start of the market. Crescent Media, they're going to be our connection to the Asian audience on campus. They do video and they do blog posts. They kind of come out and they shoot their own video and they'll talk to people and they kind of give this real kind of personal, embedded account of what's going on at the market. So this will be good for foreign students visiting the campus during the summer, and also families who are living in the area that would be connected to that. And we'll, again, probably run those a little bit later now, probably run those June through October. We have to be in touch with them. I'm sure it's going to complicate things for them since I think most of their staff was kind of exchange students. The MTD interior bus signs, those will be 11x17 printed ads. This is just a sample ad, not an actual ad. And those will run on the buses for 3 months. And we're thinking about buying space on 20 buses. It's gotten fairly expensive this year. MTD has hired out a new company to kind of manage that. So it used to be really quite a bit cheaper, but the prices have gone up this year. But again, it's a nice platform. It's kind of persistent. It stays there. And, eventually on the bus, you're going to have to pull your head up and kind of look around because, so we've got kind of a captive audience for that. Our day of promotional efforts, Some of our current things that we've got going on. So right now we've got Art at the Market, Sprouts, Read at the Market, and Chef Demos. And then our social media post for Facebook, the Market Mail, and Instagram. So I think you guys are all kind of familiar with most of these ongoing programs. Occur at the market once a month, and they're there to kind of draw people in. They're usually market themed, so like Art at the Market will be music and activities for making. Sprouts is kind of nutritional and farming information for kids, so that's another involved activity. All these types of activities will probably not move forward if social distancing is required at the market. So we're kind of waiting to see how those guidelines are, when they stop being enforced, and when we kind of feel comfortable kind of having this type of activity that requires people to congregate and spend time near to each other and in the same location. So Facebook, we're going to we'll be running our weekly posts, but then also we'll be doing some posting the day of, hopefully with 2 to 3 posts, and then maybe running some live video streams. And that way we'll be able to go around and kind of talk to vendors and customers and really kind of create this active interaction with the Facebook community that hopefully will get people excited. The Market Mail, you guys are familiar with that. That's our weekly email describing what's going on at the market, promotions or specials or just new things at the market that people should be aware of. We're going to, keep maintaining that. It's an easy way to get things done. I have a couple of proposed promotional efforts, and they break down the categories for the day of, and then there's some that would be video. So we'd start to be able to kind of create this library on YouTube that we could run through our market website and make the website a little more active, as well as promote them through Facebook. And then we also want to hit print media again. So one of the things that I would like to do is do market tours, maybe just small groups, have them come around, and we could pick a different set of vendors each week, just do 2 or 3 vendors and maybe a craft vendor or 2, assuming that's the nature of the market, and just kind of provide people with a little more personal interaction. I know they get that when they go to your stand, but I think it would be nice. Maybe some people are a little bit shy about talking to people off the cuff, and this will be a nice way to kind of get them in, and they can, really get a chance to interact with the vendors. And then I would also want to do like a slightly more condensed video version of that. So we're kind of, running the actual tours, but maybe videotaping them every week, and then again, posting them to the website so that people can come and visit, and hey, maybe they hear a vendor talk about something that's interesting, and then they can come out to the market and speak to them or purchase items from them. And then there's a proposal for a couple more ambitious things, which would be a video series kind of featuring food and stories from the market. So it would kind of follow people of different international and ethnic backgrounds and really kind of see, position the market as something that's very widely and culturally diverse. And we'd be able to kind of follow these people maybe while they're shopping at the market, and then have this kind of brief intermission where they're cooking, and maybe they're telling a story about their interactions with food and the people at the market. And then again, that would just be another way to kind of build content for our YouTube channel and the website. And then that will also give us something to get into WeChat. WeChat is really video heavy, so it'd be nice to have something to get into there. And then we are going to contact a couple of local college radio stations and kind of public radio stations, and have them do PSAs for the SNAP program. Usually they're free of charge. And I know the folks over at Parkland are always looking for opportunities to train their students. Unfortunately, now with cancellation of classes there. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but I think they can still do most of that stuff remotely. I am going to have a market poster, a printed poster that we can kind of put in various businesses around Urbana, you know, either downtown, off the beaten path, along the Lincoln, what is it, I-45 corridor there, out to the highway. And it's just another way to, again, reach a potential customer base that maybe isn't watching TV or isn't kind of going to YouTube or isn't on Facebook. So it would be a cheap kind of persistent way. And then we take that flyer and make a version of it so that we could actually create flyers for Campus Town to catch students when they start the summer session, assuming there is a summer session, and then once they start again in the fall, because usually there are plenty of students back in town week and a half, 2 weeks before classes actually start. So it'd be a good time to just kind of keep that information about the farmers market out there. There was a request from one of our vendors to have lawn signs. So I haven't quite figured that out. I know they cost $100 for 10 of them. So we could make a few and then either give them away, kind of make them like a little badge of honor, like, hey, I shop the farmers market, and you know, have that just be kind of local advertisement in the community. Let's see. All right, here's the budget. It's spectacular. I think pretty much, yeah, that's it. There's a little bit of cushion in there just in case things go wrong or I need to hire a graphic designer for more than one thing. I think that's it. Are there any questions? Sorry if that was boring and dry.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yes, Molly.
Brian, you're mentioning with the advertising, I'm going to use Chambana Moms as a reference, about maybe not starting advertising till like June.
No.
Right?
No, not advertising. Like they have these in-person events they do. The advertising,
I misunderstood you then.
So they do these in-person events and they're $600 an event. And I think I'd take May's event, cancel it, but like roll that money into increased frequency of advertising on their site or on other sites. So yes, sorry if I was unclear. Yes, I would not cancel the advertising for May.
Great.
All right, Tegan, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I actually never got that PowerPoint. Could I make sure it gets sent to me? It wasn't included in the cancellation email I received.
It is up on the website.
Oh, it's up on the website? Okay.
All right, so Brian, I know that campus has moved all summer classes online.
Okay.
And in addition, I believe at the moment they have canceled all campus visits. Of course, that might change as the governor's stay-at-home order changes, but for the moment, there are no campus tours right now.
Excellent.
So that might impact your, was it WeChat? I'm not sure which one it was that was going to advertise to international students.
Yes, yeah, it was the WeChat. We need to be in contact with them again, and yeah, clearly online summer courses are going to change quite a few things on there.
All right, does the committee have any other questions? All right, I do not. Oh, Tegan, you have another one? Do you want to unmute? Did you have another question, Tegan?
Yes, sorry.
It's okay.
I thought I unmuted. I would encourage Brian to look into Buy Fresh, Buy Local Illinois. It's a statewide partnership that just launched on Monday that will involve a statewide publication to come out hopefully sometime later in the summer. But right now there's a lot of momentum and advertising going around it, connecting farmers to what restaurants are open, to communities, to individuals, and I would encourage you to look into it and make sure that Urbana Market is at least up to date in Market Maker and pushing out all of its vendors through Buy Fresh, Buy Local initiatives.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. We'll take a look at that.
All right, any other questions for Brian? No? Okay, so the next item is Wild Alaskan Salmon and Seafood. Josh Hermans, who is going to be presenting on that? Is it Josh Hermans? Hermes?
Yeah, sorry. Again, due to my email mishap, I was not able to contact Josh in time to get him on this call. Yes, that's what I've got.
Brandon?
Could we just kind of go over the general concept here, though? Because this isn't the first inquiry about salmon sales that the advisory board has discussed. It just predated us, so we'd like to get some insight. And this is different from Sitka salmon, right?
Yes. Yeah. So Wild Alaskan Salmon and Seafood, they are a sustainable fishery. They do their fishing in Alaska, but the owners and crew are based in Illinois. So they do all their catching and processing in Alaska, and then they ship directly here. And I really hope the board kind of considers this, because I think that there's nutritional value to having fresh seafoods shipped to the center of the country that we can't quite match otherwise. And it should be noted that both, I think the indoor market and the Champaign market have salmon vendors at them. And I think that it would be kind of a really nice product to have at the market, just because, if people are really interested in having salmon and they have to make a choice between making a trip to the store on a Saturday to get salmon or the market, let's give them another reason to come to the market and get their salmon there, rather than putting off and going to the store where you can get everything you can get market except salmon. That's my feeling about it. I would like to admit them, even if it was just on like a 1-year trial basis. But I'll listen to your input on that.
All right. Tegan, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, the Champaign Farmers Market and the indoor market both have Sitka salmon. I'm assuming the outdoor market also has Sitka salmon, but Sitka doesn't do outdoor?
No, they do not. They applied last year, but they were not admitted.
See, when we talked about this years ago, we want to keep it in Illinois products only. Well, things have changed, and the market has changed. And as Brian mentioned, we need to bring more people to the market because of declining attendance. So I see this as a way, people can come that, say 10 people or whatever, show up to want to buy fish. That's 10 more people. So I see it's a good thing.
All right. Any other input? Tegan, do you have another one?
Yeah, I would encourage us, since Sitka has been supporting local markets for longer, to reach out to them to see if they are interested in applying, given that we are considering allowing them into the market, just as a sign of goodwill, since I know they have been interested in selling before, and they were actually the spearhead in figuring out how to get mechanized refrigeration through the local health department. And that has been a huge benefit to all of our markets. They work really hard to figure out how to get coolers verified to allow frozen meat and produce at the market.
So are you saying both of them then?
I would say we can do one or both, but I would reach out to Sitka and let them know that we would be allowing this their product in the market and seeing if they would be interested in selling.
So Brandon, what do you need from the advisory committee at this time?
Well, your advice, first and foremost, I know there was a history to that, to this conversation. It isn't the first time we've had it. But, so far I'm hearing consensus around the idea of trying to get this current vendor and others potentially like them. I mean, we're not asking for input on one particular vendor as much as the concept here, because it does challenge the idea that we're only letting in Illinois produced produce.
Well, we need to change our strategic plan, because I think it does mention something in there. Or I can't remember where, but I think somewhere in there it says something like that.
The handbook is what's most relevant, because that's the guidelines, and that a new one gets issued every year. So I would just anticipate Brian and I will sit down and try to adjust that. But given this conversation, and we'll continue to hear as you discuss more, we would write in a provision for salmon specifically, probably.
I would be, if I can say something really quick, I think we should be really cautious in moving forward in this whole area of allowing vendors in that aren't local to Illinois, because that's what our market is about. So I think we're going to have to be very, very careful moving forward and setting up some really good guidelines about who we let come in, because we don't want to just be bombarded by every Tom, Joe, and Billy from everywhere. Does everybody agree with that?
I agree with that.
Yeah, I want to point out that the only reason the other markets allow them is because there's no other fish producer option. Like it's not like anyone has chosen them. That was the exception to both markets, simply because they are the only fish producer and have a base in Illinois. So.
Sure.
And I just want to be clear, this isn't a one and done decision. This is a conversation we'll keep having and monitoring.
And Brian, you had mentioned that they were an Illinois-based company, correct?
Yes.
Is Sitka Salmon also Illinois-based? Does anybody know?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're based in the way that like the owners and the crew live in Illinois, and then during fishing season, they all go to Alaska. And I think that's the model for both companies. I spoke to a representative from Sitka last year, and pretty much both companies sound like they have a very similar model as far as like where they're based, how they work, and then where they come back. The guy from Wild Alaska actually sent me a Google shot of his house being built in Southern Illinois. So he's, for real, I guess, but.
All right, are there any other comments about the salmon and seafood at the market? All right, Brandon and Brian, do you guys have the information that you need?
Yeah, I believe so. And based on the conversation, we'll probably put something along the lines of, salmon vendors at the discretion of the market coordinator. Because as you just heard, Brian's already, talking to these folks directly, and he can report back if we get inundated with, an onslaught of others trying to get in through that. We don't want it to become a loophole. It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you say seafood, not salmon?
I was going to suggest the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, it would be seafood, because Wild Alaskan and I think Sitka Salmon as well sell like a wider range of seafood than just salmon. But I like they're not bringing shrimp or anything crazy like that. It's just like, cod and a couple other types of fish.
Sounds good.
All right. So the next item is a subcommittee formation discussion. So I apologize. I'm not sure if it's pronounced Shooty?
You can call me whatever you want.
I'm sorry, Stan.
Yeah. Hey, can I pull that agenda item? Under the current environment, I think we need to focus on just getting the market up and running.
Yeah, so you want to table that part of the agenda for today?
If I can, please.
Yes, I believe that's allowed. Does anybody have any
objection?
Any objections? All right.
No.
No? The last item is new business. Do we have any new business? Tegan?
I just have a general question, because Kay and I have sort of tried to figure out how to deal with this at our market. Now that CBD products are allowed, we have gotten applications from companies or places of business that are that exist locally but source from places like Colorado. I want to know how we're dealing with that, given that growers like Maggie Taylor are actually growing it here and supplying it here. And I want to make sure that we at least consider this or put language in place so that that is being vetted properly, to be fair to local growers.
Wow.
All right. Is there any other new business? Nope, I don't see any. All right, so can I have a motion for adjournment?
Also move.
A second?
Second.
All right, moved by Stan, seconded by Tegan. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, our first successful virtual meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.